Hamilton from Audible Elegance here in Cincinnati, Ohio. We have a website, audibleelegance.com. We're located up the street from the Montgomery Inn. We do work on Facebook, Instagram, and X. I write a monthly blog. Please do subscribe to the channel. We want to make some improvements and some fun recordings for everybody to enjoy in this fall. And we're going to try to really step it up, even though a lot of people just use their laptops with the earbuds, where they can't get a whole lot of quality, but other people are using decent systems. So we're going to, treat them to some nice stuff. I'm going to talk about the choice between using Toslink versus Coaxial as far as a digital connection. And as I said in my earlier video on Toslink, or later video, I don't know how we're going to sequence it, the electrical, the converters from optical to electrical pulsing, you can buy garbage cans full of them for about about $20 a piece now. It was $5 years ago. So you're not talking about an amazing optical transmitter or receiver. And ultimately, once they change it into back into an electrical signal, ta-da, we're essentially in the same level of coaxial at that point. Personally speaking, I greatly prefer, without question, the use of a coaxial digital cable. The sonic performance is dramatically better. Certainly, you're going to be a little more limited in range, so you can't run, 30 feet of an optical cable. You're typically running 1 meter or 2 meters in coaxial. Television sets typically do not have a coaxial digital out, so once again, you're back into using opticals. But again, as I said, I'm not too worried about the sound that comes from a television audio system because it's not that good to start with, which is probably why they use a little crappy cheap speakers so you don't hear how bad they really are. Now, the coaxial cables, interestingly enough, operate in the same bandwidth as what were video cables. So the video cables and coaxial digital cables are actually interchangeable. Now, with the design of some of the coaxial digitals, they do some better shielding and other things like that. So please don't go out and grab that little, piece of, coaxial cable that had yellow, red, and white on it and strip it off and use the yellow because it's crap. All right, it's not really a good video cable. It just simply works. And I doubt that they actually changed the quality of the wire that went into that for the frequency bandwidth that it's supposed to be doing. And remember, everybody was using 13-inch color television sets when those cables come out, all right? They weren't using big plasmas or LCDs or OLEDs, all right? Now, your choice of coaxial digital cables, again, like I talked about or have talked about with optical cables, will greatly enhance or degrade the quality of the performance that you get on your digital devices. But hands down, if I have even a small chance of using a coaxial digital cable, I'm there. I'll avoid optical as much as I can because of the limitations of how it's actually done. But if I have to use optical, well, I've talked about which cables to look for and what the quality you should buy. And yes, it does make a difference there. In terms of digital cables, there are all sorts of fables, stories that manufacturers use to sell their product, and the prices are all over the map. And that's one where I do encourage you, if you get to try a couple different models or a couple different brands, is to listen to it and see what really works for you. And because there are differences, and I can't exactly predict what's going to happen between any two digital products. I'm much better at what happens between two analog products. There's just a lot of digital products out there that I haven't experienced, so that's the reason I say that. So there we are. If you can do coaxial digital, do it. If you have to use, and get a decent, respectable cable. There was one produced years ago that actually was highly endorsed as probably one of the best bargains in the market for digital, and that was out of Straightwire. I don't think they make that cable anymore. They have different variations from it. And I'll go through and play with some of the newest ones here shortly, along with those from both WireWorld and AudioQuest. And do a little bit of a shootout, and then we'll make recommendations from there.